Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday webinar. I'm very excited for this Wednesday webinar. We have Mallory Denny here from Mergent to talk about a database that's brand new for us here at UAGC Library, Mergent Market Atlas. Now, I say it's brand new. A lot of the information in there is the information that you already know and expect from Mergent Online, but this is a brand new platform, a brand new interface that we're really excited about. It's very user-friendly. I love the way that it's organized. I could go on, but I don't want to take all the time and steal Mallory's thunder because she's going to give us a walkthrough of Market Atlas so you can see for yourself. But it really is just a great place to go to for in-depth company financial information, company histories, industry information. Again, I'm starting to go on and on. I won't. Just wanted to make sure if you want to follow along, I'll drop a link to Market Atlas in the chat, but also I can walk you through. Let's make sure. Can you see the library homepage now?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So anytime if you want to get to a specific database in the UAGC library, you can go. I find that there's several ways to get there, but I find the easiest is find articles and more to get to our databases lists. We have the database A to Z list, which will give you every database that we have in the library alphabetically. And then you can jump to M. Oops, jumped all the way down. Not sure. Maybe I hit the wrong thing. M for Mergent. And then for now, we have both Mergent Online, although we have a note here. It's going to be actually the last day that you'll be able to access Mergent Online will be June 30th, 2025. But we just last week made this link live for Mergent Market Atlas, and that's the one we'll be talking about today. Now, I did want to mention if your courses are currently using Mergent Online, not to fret. I'll be reaching out to you in the next few weeks. By May 2nd is my target, just so we can start the process of replacing Mergent Online in those courses with Mergent Market Atlas. Again, it will be a very similar experience. The same kinds of information is available in Market Atlas that your students can expect from Mergent Online, but we will be touching base about that. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Mallory. Thanks so much for being here, Mallory.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. And I also have Jeff on the line too. He's the product expert. He's been the one developing the product and stuff. So he'll probably chime in and anything I miss or can't answer, he should be able to answer for you. So yeah, also any feedback, he'll love to hear it. So yeah, I'll just go through my typical demo and we can go from there. So it looks like I need to send a request to share.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to turn my video off for this because I'm at my mom's house in Omaha. So you never know what's going to go on back there in the background. But here is the homepage of Market Atlas. So what I've been doing is just kind of opening up a company record so you can see, all of the content is available in Market Atlas that you're currently receiving in Mergent Online. Okay, just want to make sure I didn't miss something in the chat already. So I pulled up Johnson & Johnson. This is your, company overview here. You've got your key statistics, profitability, financial strength, etc. On that homepage. But just like Mergent Online, up at the top, you can see the different components of that company record. It's a lot easier to see in Market Atlas and Mergent Online. It was like kind of grayed out, but if you click on news, this will look very familiar because it's the same news provider. So you still get all of those charts and graphs that will link you to those news articles as well. So you've got, your Venn diagram, your bar graph, talks about, specific stories that are trending. Then if I click on financials, you still get your 30 years of company financials. So if you wanted those 30 years, you just go up here and click on that. You can change the currency as well. If you wanted the interim financials, which is the quarterly, you click there. Left-hand side is where you find the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, ratios, and then you can get all of the different sections if you click on that. You can always export, which is on the right-hand side as well. And you can change the scale of what you're seeing also. So pretty straightforward there. If you wanted to chart some of these items on this balance sheet, you just check the box and then go to chart selected. And then any charts that you get, you can download or print or save those.
One note I might make here is we have had a little confusion on the terminology for the company-specific financials. So Mallory's showing the standardized here. So this is obviously all in every company will be in a standardized form across, industrials, banks will have their own format and so forth. However, on company-specific, that would kind of correspond over to what has been called traditionally emergent as reported. So this is the line items pulled right out of the financial statements, although put into a grid form for the particular company. So this will have much more detail. You'll see blanks and so forth where the company has changed presentation methods over the time. But that's where you can get into all the detail, that company specific terminology there, or item under financials.
Perfect. Thanks for that. And then you can also display the page for printing, just a little side note there. So I'll continue. You've got your analysis. So it'll give you your ratios to start. Here, if you go on the left-hand side, that's where you get, your different business segments, geographic segments. A few of these are new to Market Atlas. So I think earnings surprise and technical analysis, those are new. You also have your comparison section. So here, if you just type in a different company, Pepsi is the first one that came to mind, even though they're not remotely alike. But if you type that in, it will compare those companies for you. And then you also have your industry peers. So within this section, you can remove companies and you can also add companies. It's going to default to show you the top 10, but you can look at all of them or the top 20. You can also export these. And then within here, you can choose a specific country and then the report type you want. So if you want to, see all the peers in terms of profitability or management effectiveness, you can change that as well.
And you can change, one thing that's important too, I think, is the ability to change the benchmark, or essentially that's used here. So it defaults to the ICB, which is a LSEG owned type of classification schema standing for industry classification benchmark, but you can get to SIC and NAICS also, which probably are more standardized in what some folks would be looking for.
Yes. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go then to the charts tab. So this is going to give you a few drop downs here. So left-hand side, you see price and technical analysis. You can look at, income statement, total revenue if you want, pre-tax income, and then you can go back 20 years. Again, you can print, and save these charts as well. But just gives you a few options in terms of charting, which is new to Market Atlas. Any one of these pages within the record, you can also change the company, which was available in Mergent Online. So if you type in a different one, this page of that record will populate. Then you have your filings tab, which is pretty straightforward. So it's going to show you the most recent filings. You just get that report over here by clicking the PDF sign. You can, filter by the report type. And then these are the most common ones accessed. But if you needed to look at something else within the SEC, you would just go to the drop down. And then you can also, change the time period as well.
And one thing I might mention on these filings, another item that's come up recently is the reports themselves in the PDF form. Occasionally they can have some formatting issues just due to the way that the data is presented and the creation of the PDF format. So we're adding in our next release, which will probably be out next month, HTML format. So that'll preserve the exact view as, as shown like on Edgar filing, for example. So watch for that. And just speaking of the enhancement releases, we've been on kind of a quarterly cycle. So we've been getting a lot of feedback from customers since this has been rolling out since I guess last summer. So feel free to pass any ideas or comments or things you've missed or whatever on to Mallory, and we can see about getting those taken care of.
Thanks, Jeff. I have a quick question. When did you say the HTML versions would be coming out?
That'll come out. We're aiming for the middle or so of May. So I would say around that time frame, about a month
Okay.
away.
That's great.
It's getting into final testing here shortly.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been, we really emphasize accessibility with all of our collections. And so I can see a big benefit there as well for providing PDFs and HTML. And
Right.
I think I know we've tested some PDFs from Mergent and we've found them to be accessible. Do you guys have an in-house like remediation process if we come across anything that isn't accessible?
I would say pass it on through
Okay.
Mallory's going to be the most direct channel, I think, and then she can get it right to me. That would probably be the best plan.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so moving on, we've got executives. So same content here. If you scroll over that executive's name, it'll give you the description, or on the left, you can go and get a detailed report or a compensation report for executives. And you can also, click on their name. If you go to ownership, so this is where you're going to get, the insider transactions and institutional ownership. Similar to Mergent Online, just looks a little prettier. But you can look at the top 25 institutional holders. If you click on those, it will show you the holdings within other organizations. And then you can also export that as well. Again, you can export, this page also. Sustainability. So this is new to Market Atlas. It used to be an add-on in Mergent Online, but we evaluate around 7,500 global companies on environmental, social, and governance. And these are updated quarterly. And then we have history back to 2018. So the first part of the ESG section is going to give you the overall rating and then how they, rated against their industry peers, the industry as a whole. So that's the overall rating. If you go to the pillars, it's going to show you how they rated specifically in environment, social, and then governance. And then you have the comparisons then below for those scores. And then the themes. So it's going to show you, that they were rated 5 on climate change or water security or supply chain. And then again, a comparison on that. There's a lot of good definitions here as well, if this is like a newer topic for the university. But the About section is also very helpful because this is going to give you a link to learn more about the methodology. And then it gives you, all of those definitions here with a little bit of background on that methodology. And then I kind of skipped over the history, but if you wanted to, export Johnson & Johnson's ratings, back to 2018, you can come in here and do that. And then you can also chart them as well. On that homepage of the ESG as well, you can go in and you can click on this for a PDF of the ESG report. So you can, download and print those. So it's all in one spot for you. And then you've got your reports tab. So you've got your standard merchant reports, which should look very familiar, the summary, fundamental, and expanded fundamental. Up on the left, though, you now have the LSIG stock rating reports. So these are new to the product also. So they're going to give you, obviously different ratings. So relative valuation is a 4, and the fundamental is a 4. But these are really helpful to and new to the company and the product.
Yeah, the other nice thing about those, it gives really nice detail in some of those categories, like the consensus estimate data and so forth. So be sure to kind of scour into those a bit. There's a lot of detailed information, and the relative company information is nice too.
Yes. And then you have sustainability, which we just reviewed, and then you have your annual reports tab there. So that is a company record in a nutshell. So, everything that you're getting in Mergent Online, it's just using the new tool, which functions a lot better and is being updated more consistently. You also have an additional 30,000 global companies that have been added alongside the ESG and the stock rating reports. But also, like Mergent Online, there are different tabs up at the top. So if you wanted to, just jump in there and look at filing specifically, you would click on that. If you wanted to, obviously look at the ratings, you click there. Sustainability module, I'll pull up since that is new. So here you can search by, the company name, or you can do by the rating. So if you wanted all of those companies within a 4 or a 5, you can look at specific countries and specific industries. And then also you can look at different report dates. You can also compare in here. So we talked about, the overall scores, the pillars, the themes, and the history. But if you want to compare, you can go in here and you can type up to 10 different companies and then put them into a table or chart. And then again, you have your about section that, tells you a little bit more about it. The industry tab, this should look familiar because this is what it looks like in Mergent Online. But you've got, your comparisons. We go to our characteristics. You can choose a specific industry or a super sector, and then it's going to give you that data, and then the industries that make up the data that you're seeing in this, or the companies that make up the data that you're seeing in this report. Over on the right too, this is defaulting to performance, but you can look at growth, profitability, valuation, and leverage. If we go to membership, this again will show you, the companies that are in, basic materials here, and you can go all the way down to the subsector to see, which companies are in the subsector category. Then you've got your predefined reports. So you can go in here and you can download any of these. And then one other thing I like to point out is that we have industry-specific ESG reports. So up at the top, if you click on that, you can see then, so like for basic materials, rather than being, a company level ESG, this is going to give you the industry level ESG data for them. And then index data. So I'm back up at the top here. The index data is new. We don't get a ton of questions, but they do come up, if you wanted information about the Russell indices specifically. So here you're going to get, total return year to date, and then you can see, annualized 10-year return, and you can export. One of the most common questions we get is about the companies that are, compile the Russell 1000, let's say. So here you can do your drop down and choose a specific index. And then if you click on that plus button, it'll show you the companies in that, index in their specific returns. And again, you can export these as well. Economic should look familiar because you do have this. I'm going to pull up the chat to see if I'm missing any questions. Let's see. Okay. Feel free to jump in.
Mallory, can I ask this question?
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Bill Davis. I'm a program chair for the BA of Operations Management Analysis, and my apologies, I joined this a little bit late
Right.
from another meeting. But anyway, you just grabbed my attention, and here's why. Not only for research purposes and studying companies and coming up with evidence and data to support research and claims, we're very sensitive to meeting the students where they're at. We're very sensitive about coaching, guiding them, into successful careers. So the connection I just made, and I'm sure I'm right, is we can research organizations, we can reach companies. And my point is I'm looking at this, my mind's working, and I'm thinking about me talking to a group of students, to enhance their motivation, enhance their experience. Now they have access to this, but just the research alone to take a look at some top growth companies. For example, when you look at a financial portfolio or your investments, you want to see what sector's growing, what's not. That's a whole nother subject. But the point is, does this tool help us? And I'm sure the answer is yes. Does it help us really look at some growth industries, growth corporations? For example, if I was in the job market and I've got my college degree and I want to start doing some research and I want to learn a little bit about Amazon, or I want to learn about this particular organization globally, what can this tell me about the prospects for future employment? Is that a good question?
Yeah, I get that. So Jeff might be able to chime in here too, but in the, if you're looking at the company, specifically going into that record and doing, kind of like the comparisons in the charts and graphs, would you say that would be the best way, Jeff, to kind of prospect for the high growth companies?
Yeah, I think well, first of all, you could do, we haven't really looked at the search facility much yet.
Yeah,
So
we have
on the
not.
home page, there are
Mhm.
some growth characteristics in there that you can search on right off the top. You could pick an industry, say technology, or even something specific out of the technology group, maybe drill down into software or something, for example, and
Mhm.
then add some data items if we go over and look at some of the growth rates that are available. I think scroll down a little bit.
It's okay. Hold on one sec.
Jeff, one of the, and I don't mean to interrupt you because this is great.
Sure.
And again, I'm probably kind of hogging the mic here, so my apologies. But
Yes.
the thing that excites me about this is as I go back to my past career, we had tools where we could. I was at PepsiCo. We could go down and look at sectors, businesses, drill down. So I see the capability here and of doing that. And the thing I'm more interested in, I'm thinking more student centered here, outside of the box with research. That could you produce? Because the library and the writing center, they do so many great jobs with little videos and snippets and things. Could we produce a video that might not only be helpful with research, but something that's like a 2-minute deal to say, hey, interested in learning to further your career, growth companies? Here's a couple steps that may interest you, because students are concerned about, future employment. We're concerned about that, making them be successful. And anything we could do with this tool to kind of focus that on, here's some tips and tricks for finding, growth-oriented companies or something like that, and isolate that. I just think that would be a value for the system. But that, again, that might not pertain to what you're trying to accomplish today, but I just saw that as a suggestion.
Yeah, I definitely think you can use kind of the searching tool to find those companies and then drill into each one of them. Probably the best area would be that area Mallory touched on. I don't know if you caught it, Bill, was the analysis section under the company. And from there, there's some growth characteristics and and also some new charts and views on the expectations, at least from the marketplace, as far as how this company is expected to grow over the next year, 2 years, 5 years, on some of the consensus estimate data. So that would really be probably the most forward-looking and kind of data that
Okay.
you'd want to be looking at
Well,
in alignment with what you're talking about.
I think you just answered my question, and I'll get with the library folks and maybe construct my own little 2-minute piece there.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
definitely look through this section because I think there's a lot to add there for
Okay.
what you're talking about.
Thank you, Jeff and Mallory.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Do we have any other questions while we're at it? Let's see. Oh, yeah.
One thing I was going to touch on here, Mallory, since we're here, just look at some of the charts, maybe like in the valuation section, for example.
Mhm.
So here it's a common theme amongst several of these, like price performance, profitability, and valuation technical, where you've got this little drop down tool where you can pick a particular chart and then change the time frame. And then what's kind of nice to look at is you get that nice median line through the whole history there, so we can see where Johnson & Johnson on a PE basis has traded historically. So this is what the brokerage firms that write research reports on companies will be looking at this type of data and saying, well, we're looking at J&J here. They're currently trading at a PE of 21.67 on their trailing earnings, and then that overall median has been about 20, so not too far out of normal valuation trend for this company. But you can look at some of them, obviously, with the volatility in today's marketplace. You'll see things violently swinging around some of these long-term trends. So that's some nice useful information in these charts. And particularly on the chart options on any of these, that button up there, if you click on that, you can get a PDF file, or you can print the chart and things like that. So this stuff can be utilized in other reports as well. So that could go along with Bill's idea about a video. You could extract some of this information from a chart perspective.
Yeah. Good thing to note. Okay, so I think we left off on, okay, economic. You guys have this currently in Mergent Online, but this is where obviously we look at the economic data. This goes back 30 years, so this also might be helpful. But if you go to like the analysis section, for example, you can choose from the drop downs again. So if you wanted to look at, credit, housing activity, income, savings, and profits, you can change those, to get a better idea. And then you can also put it in a table as well for exporting purposes. And then you also have your predefined economic reports. So again, something you guys currently have that you can access here. The country reports also currently available in Mergent Online. These are all updated. I've gotten that question because I don't think they were, pushing them through in Legacy Mergent Online, but these are all current country reports. But you can also look at, if you wanted to compare to 5 years ago, kind of what that country risk was in economic outlook and stuff like that through there. You can also search through the countries, which is nice. And then lastly, you've got your reports tab. So what you would do is you just type in the company and click search, and then this is where all your PDFs will be. So if you up at the top, you can see the rating, sustainability, annual reports, and then industry as well. But just a portal to get all of those documents. But another thing I also wanted to point out was up here at the top where it says what's new. If you log into Market Atlas and that button is red, that means that they've done one of their updates and have added either new content or new search functionality. So when they add the HTML version of the filings, that will be in red. So you can click on that and then it will show you the document that kind of talks about all the updates that Jeff has been working on in the product, which is also helpful for training. And then the help tab gives you kind of step-by-step, notes on how to do like a company search or the filings, ratings, sustainability. So might be helpful while you guys are getting used to the product. So with that, Jeff, I don't know if you have anything else to add or if anyone else has questions, happy to answer them.
I have a quick question, Mallory. We use the country reports for a few courses, and I know the questions come up with when the other day, I was showing a student market atlas. Could you briefly explain the difference between the DMB country risk reports and the risk line reports? I think one has more to do with like business, like business expansion or something. Is that right?
You know, that is a great question. Jeff, do you know the specific differences?
No, I unfortunately haven't dug into them that much. So I
I'll
don't have a comment on the differences. I've just worked on the interface more so in that area.
I think
Yeah.
the student that we dug in, and by the way, this is a good time to plug the help page for Market Atlas. They have a great help page that we have I'll be sure and send out a tip sheet that we've created for Market Atlas as well with a link to the help page. And a student and I dug through it and saw that I think I want to say the risk line is more about risks to businesses, and maybe the risk report is just more general, like giving a like economic background and less from a business standpoint,
Mhm.
more just giving like political issues, economic crises, that kind of thing. But I wasn't sure that that was the correct answer there. So
Well, it's a good point because if in a lot of the areas like Mallory was pointing out in the ESG area where we have little notes and so forth, we can get that information and put something up the top of that page just so people know what they might want to look at based on what they're looking for. So we'll try to add that.
oh, great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
We love the ESG reports too. I love the whole sustainability section is exciting to see because we didn't have that before. So thank you.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
so in that gray section there, we'll try to expand on that a little bit there.
Oh,
And
that'd be awesome. Thank
yeah,
you.
yep. We'll ask DMB what they mean.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Get
we're
their
not sure either.
definition.
Yeah. Kind of looks like one's more of a snapshot, and one is a little bit more robust. But yeah, we'll get an answer for you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. What other questions do you guys have? It's pretty intuitive, which is great. They did a good job about that. So I don't think there will be a huge learning curve. But you guys know how to reach us if we need to do additional demos or if you need support on any of it, you can reach out to me as the primary contact and then I can loop in Jeff if needed.
I was just checking my notes, Mallory. I hate to hog all the question and answer section, but I have one other quick question that I know came up with a faculty member a couple weeks ago. I know in Mergent Online, we could, through the basic search, I think we'd filter to like S&P 500 and it would give you the current companies on the S&P 500 list. And we were looking at it and I couldn't figure out how to do it in Market Atlas. Is that a feature that's still available or?
Yeah, that's not available. We don't provide indice breakdowns like that.
Okay,
Because unfortunately, even the Mergent data, we could use that, but it's not being kept up to date.
gotcha.
So we were hesitant to bring something in that's not accurate.
Okay.
But there may be some other sources, so I'll continue to look around. We know the data's there. It's just a matter of finding it within our organization now. I don't know if you know much about London Stock Exchange, but they've acquired some major data companies over the last several years.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so and that's what a lot of this content is coming from, as opposed to the historical Mergent data. So we've kind of
Okay.
transitioned over to that. So it's there. And I'll make a note of it because that would be very useful, and we've had other products that kept that information up to date. It's just it's just not good data right now, what you're seeing in MOL, honestly. So
Yeah.
we didn't bring it over.
Understandable.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. One thing I was going to note too, Mallory, if you want to go back to the search, maybe it's something that's I know a lot of people have asked about, is that ability to, when you get your results, if you just do a quick search, say
Mhm.
Arizona companies or something,
Yep.
and then the ability to save the result list.
So I'm just getting rid of my, well, I'll
Oh,
just do
sure. Yeah,
technology.
technology, that's cool.
Okay, view results.
This isn't your checking, you always have a.
Yeah, so this area, once you get your results from a search, you can obviously just click on the symbols there to go into the company analysis, but also the feature that says send to active list. If you click on that, then it does create a little blinking. You might need to scroll up. Yeah, see up top there. So show active list. So for your session, this will continue to be available. So you can pop that up at any time and go into one of the other companies that met your search criteria. So this is another area we're enhancing in the next release, where you can also go in and just add companies or remove companies from this list. So it'll be a little more useful, and we're going to try to bring it, make it available throughout the system, so it can kind of be always there for you.
Cool. That's a new feature, so I kind of always wondered about that too.
Yeah, so we're adding that, and make it, what I want to do is make it available when you're in the company analysis and you want to change companies. Right now, it would take you back if you use that feature to the company overview page, but we want to make it so it can kind of keep you on the page you're on and utilize it. So you can just scroll through your saved companies essentially.
Cool. I love that. Any other questions or anything to add? Oh, looks like there's something in the chat.
You know, Mallory, I just want to make one final comment. You should be very proud of, I mean, I know you are. You should be very proud of this tool. The more people discover it, the more awareness there is on it, which the students will find it, even the faculty. It increases our confidence. You know, one of the goals I just set watching this, and I'm going to make sure that I master this, you know, because if I'm talking to a student and I want to help guide them, you know, I need to be able to talk like you and Jeff and be able to say, which I can, you know, like you said, it's pretty intuitive. But once I understand the real key areas, it's not hard to communicate this. So kudos to you.
Oh, well, I'm sure Jeff loves to hear that, because he's been working really hard on it. But yeah, I appreciate that. And the more you play around with it and stuff, you're gonna, find more use cases and, really dig into the content. I think you'll be excited.
Yeah, and you know, technology has never really been my strongest suit. I always say I'm a B in technology, but you know, throughout my career, the more I did it, the more it got in the brain and the more intuitive it became. So this doesn't scare me, but you can bet that I'll be talking to Karen Minty and saying, let's bring me up a level. So thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely no problem. Well, if we don't have any, other questions, I can let you guys go. But if you, need anything in the future, as updates come out, I will, send them over to you. But you can always check the What's New tab for those. But yeah, let us know if you guys need anything. But I really appreciate your time. And Jeff, thanks so much for joining as well. You were very helpful per the usual.
Sure. Happy to speak with everyone today. Thanks for the comments, and we look forward to other feedback. And we'll try to adjust anything we can to help you out if you find some areas you need further refinement.
Absolutely.
Thank you both so much. This was great to see, and we're so excited to share this with our faculty. So thank you for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
All right, everybody,
All right.
have a great rest of your week, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.